is going to be for the guy that is struggling to break free from a pornography addiction, right? Somebody that's really recognized that it's had a negative impact and it's become a crutch in their life, and it's prevented them from becoming the man that they know God has called them to be in whatever realm. And you can be crushing it in life, you can be crushing it in business, making millions of dollars, right? You can have a beautiful wife at home, but if there's an element of every time you look yourself in the mirror, you see yourself as a fraud, this is for you. This is not for the guy that maybe wants to create a relationship where you manage pornography on a somewhat regular basis. No, this is for the guy that is actually looking to not just quit porn, but create the life without pornography that God has called him to be. One of the statements, one of the lines that I think we've, become known for and we've built our entire organization off of is, in order to overcome your pornography addiction for good, you must become the man that is no longer addicted to porn. I believe freedom is found in new skill sets, in new belief systems. If you're struggling with a pornography addiction, it's because you lack the ability in a certain area of your life, whether that's to regulate emotions, whether that's to deny yourself, whether that's to not give into temptations. I believe it's a lacking of something within. And I think if we get clear on what that is, and we get clear on the gap between the man that we can be without pornography and who we are today, then we have a clear blueprint, right? It's funny that your group is called the Alpha Man Blueprint. What we're going to do is we're going to give you the blueprint for creating a life 100% free of pornography.
Okay, awesome, man. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we can go over this together. Now, I will say that one of the exercises that the guys have done up until now is they did write their vision statement. So but it wasn't specifically revolving around porn at all. This could certainly be implemented in, but I just wanted to mention that. So,
yeah.
All right, here we go. All right, here's the assignment: creating a vision without pornography.
Yeah. So I mean, it is a vision casting assignment, right? Because if we're going to create this life free of porn, we need to know what it ultimately looks like. So the fact they've already done it before, I wasn't aware of that. This assignment here is literally pulled from week 2 of our curriculum. So we have had over 500 men go through a Reboot Your Life program in the last 3.5 years. Every single one of them has done this in week 2. I'm updating and creating a 2.0 version right now, and it includes this assignment as well. I've removed a lot of things from the previous version and added a lot of new ones. This is the one that I believe is mandatory. So it does occur in week 2 of our program. It's a 16-week, and it's getting chopped down to a 12-week program right now. But the first part of the assignment is actually embarking on a 48-hour fast. And the fast serves multiple purposes of why it's placed immediately before the assignment. So what you would do is, if you're going to embark on this week or whenever, look at your schedule, right? Okay, when do I actually have 2 days that I could go without food? If you're not somebody that fasts regularly, you maybe want to do these on off days from work. You want to maybe do them on off days from training. Because I will tell you, most of us have probably fasted for 24 hours or gone 24 hours without eating, maybe by accident or maybe on purpose. Once you kind of tap into day 2 a little bit, it's going to get challenging. So don't do this at a point in your life where it's incredibly stressful, where you got back-to-back meetings, where you're at the amusement park with the family and the kids. Like, do this at a time where you actually have some peace and you can be quiet and isolated. Because we're going to ask you to kind of dive deeper into asking yourself some difficult questions. But the first reason why we're going to fast prior to this assignment is, as we're casting a vision for our life free of pornography, I believe having an alignment with God makes a lot of sense, right? We're called, I don't know how many hundreds of times throughout the Bible, to fast and seek the presence of the Lord. What if we're going to create a vision for the man that we can become? My thoughts is it makes a whole lot of sense to have God in there. So while you're fasting, seek the Lord, spend time in prayer, spend time in meditation, getting to know him, try to hear his voice, however that voice comes to you. The second reason why is, as you're embarking on the journey of overcoming pornography, you're going to learn to deny yourself a little bit. There's going to be elements where through the early stages of this process, like, there's going to require some real discipline, some willpower, maybe even some elements of white knuckling. As your brain begins to reboot, heal, and you get on the other side of this thing, that becomes a lot less necessary. But in the early stages, when the temptations, because you can't stop a temptation, you can't stop a trigger from happening in your life unless you stay in the box all day long. So as you continue to navigate the world, there's going to be triggers. There's going to be temptations for you. So learning to deny yourself with what you put in your mouth, I believe, is an incredible practice that can then be carried over into other areas of our life. So the second reason why we're going to fast prior to the assignment is we want to learn some of that self-control.
Love it.
Thirdly is just the ketosis and mental clarity. So most people are familiar, they've at least heard of the ketogenic diet before. What ketosis is, which is the root word of keto, is it's an energetic state. So our body can operate out of two different sources of energy. You can have glucose or a glycolytic state where your body is burning stored sugar, stored carbs. This is when you go into the gym and you feel a massive pump in your muscles. That your body is using all those carbs or the sugar that you ate 24 hours previously to fuel your workouts. Your body prefers that. It feels really, really good to be operating in a glycolytic state. Your brain, on the other hand, prefers a ketosis or a state of ketosis, right? This is where a lot of people will talk about some of the big benefits they get out of going on a ketogenic diet is the mental clarity, is the focus. So if we're crafting a vision for our life 5 years into the future, I believe getting as mentally clear and sharp as we can be, once again, makes a lot of sense, right? And then the fourth reason, this was one that I actually got from Dave Asprey, which Rob introduced me to a couple of years back, was the overall heightened sensitivity. One thing I've noticed, and this has been feedback I've gotten from a lot of the men as well, is when you begin to deny yourself from food and you go on this state of fasting, your other senses begin to get a little bit more sharp. Your spatial awareness begins to get a little bit more sharp. Your emotional awareness gets a little bit more sharp. In my opinion, it just creates a great sense of being that, once again, when we're crafting a vision for the life that we can have, being as sharp and crisp as we can be makes a lot of sense to me. Now, there's a lot of science behind the physiological and psychological effects of fasting that are just going to help us through this recovery process. We talked about ketosis there already. It utilizes fats for the energy. It can induce some metabolic changes. You know, I believe one of the quickest ways to change your life is by changing and getting control of your body. I do believe that played a massive role in my early success that I had because I had a background in bodybuilding. And I knew that if I was controlling my body, I could control other elements of our life. One thing we provide to the men inside of our coaching program is fitness training programs, is help with their diet and nutrition. Because if you're going to change your life, quickest way to do that is by changing your body. Secondly, it's just a cellular autophagy. There's not a lot of like supported evidence behind this, but if we're turning over new cells, we're literally creating a new version of ourselves at an accelerated rate. Well, those new cells are going to be hardwired with this new programming that we're giving ourselves. This is getting more premium, a woo-woo realm here, right? But I do believe there's some truth behind this. If we can get new cells in our body and we can hardwire those new cells with new belief systems, with new behaviors, with new patterns of living, we're just creating a better reality or better outcome for our life. Hormonal regulation, obviously fasting has a lot of benefits in helping you control hunger hormones, promoting better appetite control, which once again gets us back to just having some discipline, having some control, and not feeling like we always need to binge on things. And then the psychological effects as well. For one, the mental clarity, the focus, the emotional stability, and just gaining in confidence. Like I said no to something today. I think one of the best things guys can do in the journey of recovery is learn to say no. Put yourself in positions on a daily basis where you go to the fridge to grab some food, say no. You go to pick up your phone, learn to say no. You want to take your phone to the toilet with you, learn to say no. The more that you can learn, practice saying no throughout the day, the easier it's going to be to say no when it's late at night and you're tempted and the triggers are really rising up. So just a little bit of the background of why we're doing the fasting and how it's going to support you guys in this journey. Rob,
real good. Awesome, man. No, I love it. When I fast, going back to what you said with the alignment with God, every time I feel a hunger pain, I use it as a reminder to pray, because usually if I'm fasting, I'm praying about something specific that I maybe need an answer to or a breakthrough in. So when I feel hungry, I just, I might say a prayer in my head or whatever. But also, you had mentioned metabolic changes. I think you had just talked about basically a strong body is a strong mind, so definitely
it plays a role, right? You can't have a strong mind without a strong body. You can have a strong body and a weak mind. I lived that life for 15 plus years. But it definitely, you can't have you can have a strong body without a strong mind. You can't have a strong mind without a strong body.
Right. All right. Let's get into the, what they're going to do after the fast, right in the future without porn.
Yeah. So as we said, this writing assignment is completed prior to breaking your fast. So you do fast for 48 hours, complete the assignment, then you break the fast. And it's crafting a vision, once again, that we talked about of living a life free of pornography. Mm-hmm. So the way that we've teed this up inside of the program is in week 1, all the guys have gotten really clear on the negative impact that pornography has had in their life,
Mm-hmm.
all the negative consequences. So we walk them through that first. So you may want to get clear on some of these things prior to embarking on this part of the assignment, but think of how it's impacted your health. Think of how it's impacted your mental health. Think of how it's impacted your relationships. Think of how it's impacted your financial status. How's it impacted your ability to create meaningful relationships? How it impact your ability to maybe find the perfect woman in your life? So get clear on some of the negative consequences first. That gives you the main points to focus on, and how do you want to improve your life? So kind of having that starting point, I think, is a lot, make this assignment a lot more clear, right? But the first thing that I believe we should do is we should cast our vision 5 years out into the future. So we're recording this November of 2023. So if you guys are doing this right now, think November 2028. If you were able to stay 100% porn free, and you know that you've gained the ability to do that, you become the man that no longer gives into these things. What does your life look like? And for me, we talk about 5 pillars of living an amazing or superhuman life. You have a faith, you have your fitness, you have your finances, your family, and your freedom. Faith is obviously, where can your life grow spiritually? How much closer can you get to God? And how can God use you in the world if you're a man that's free of pornography? So get clear on what your faith life is going to look like. Fitness, what can you do physically? Maybe there's some challenges you want to embark on. Maybe you want to do a bodybuilding show. But it's not just about the aesthetic side of things, the mental fitness, the emotional fitness. Get clear on these things as well. Finances, has your your addiction to pornography impacted your ability to maybe go out and get the job that you want? Maybe you want to start that business, but you don't have the motivation because you're watching porn 3 times a day. Well, what does your financial life look like 5 years into the future as a man that's free of porn? Are you blowing money every month on OnlyFans? Are you spending $1,000 at the strip club on a Saturday night? Get clear on these things. And then how does this change if I change, right? Fourth one is your family. Your family is obviously the home that you have, wife. I know Rob is talking about having multiple wives. You're probably not going to do that if you're watching pornography, right? So what does your family life look like? And I would say your family, in the way that we talk about it, goes outside of the home here as well. One thing that getting free of pornography has done for me is creating deeper relationships with the men in my life. Like when I started really open up and be vulnerable, and I didn't live behind a shield, like I was able to connect deeper with men that have now helped to elevate me in all the areas of my life. So we have our faith, our fitness, our finance, our family, and obviously our freedom. So freedom being free of pornography, but also freedom to do the things that you want to do, like go out there and live a meaningful, joyous life. Maybe there's adventures you want to go on. Maybe there's vacations you want to take. Maybe there's opportunities that you want to embark on that your porn is beginning to crush and keep you from doing those things. So what does your life outside of your work, your self-care, your training, and your family look like? One thing we encourage our guys to do is to learn new creative skills. Maybe you learn to play an instrument, maybe learn a new physical skill, pick up a recreational sport. So begin to go out there and actually live in the world. One thing I love that Jordan Peterson talks about is the element of play. As mammals, we are wired for play. There's parts of our brain that literally, when we're out doing activities and we're having fun recreationally, is lighting up. Well, oftentimes as we age, we forget that part of our life. We can all think about what it was like to be a child, right? It's so amazing. Our days are just filled with fun activity. We felt so incredible at the end of the day. Sometimes when we get caught up in just living an adult life, it's wake up, go to work, take care of the kids, watch Netflix, repeat, wash, recycle. Like, I think we're missing a big part of what it means to actually live a meaningful life with the lack of play. I play in recreational softball. I'm a 40-year-old man that's 260 pounds. Like, I love hitting little balls really, really far, but I get a lot of fun. I get competitive drive out of there, and I get to connect with other men in my life as well. So think about the freedom. So the first thing is we do is go 5 years into the future. 2028, November, what does my life look like? And then this is not an assignment to just create a list of goals. I want to do this thing. I want to do this thing. I want to do this thing. Get real clear on a vision. What does the family look like? What home are you living in? How much money is in the bank account? What does your physique look like? That's the first part of it. The second part is, who do you need to become? So if you already had the ability to create that life 5 years into the future, you would already have it. So there's something that you're lacking. This is what we talked about in the public podcast, is I believe an addiction is due to the lack of ability. You don't have the ability to do certain things in your life, and that's why you have the reality and the existence that you're currently living. So we have to understand what that gap is. So if I want these things in the future, who do I need to be? And in order to become that person, what am I lacking? And what this does is this creates a gap. There's a great book called The Gap in the Game. So there's a gap from the person we want to become and the person we are today. if we could figure out what that gap is, it literally gives a blueprint. So if I know I want to play in a band, right? Going back to the creative endeavor, Frank doesn't know how to play a musical instrument. So in order for me to be in a band, I first have to learn to play a musical instrument. Well, that gives me now a first step is pick what instrument I want to play, hire a coach, learn to play the instrument. Once I can play the instrument freely, now I can go out and maybe find other bandmates. Not the greatest example, but I think it gives a clear definition of what I'm talking about. It's not just I want a list of things, it's who do I need to become in order to do that. So we go 5 years into the future and get real clear on that vision. If this sounds comprehensive, it's because it's designed to be. This assignment should take about 2 hours minimum. Okay, so we go 5 years into the future. What life can we have and who can we become? Once we have that 5-year vision, we want to then bring it down a little bit closer to home and think about 12 months from now. So if we're moving in trajectory of accomplishing everything we want in 5 years, in all of those same areas, where do we need to be 12 months from now? For example, if I want to save $100,000, I want to have $100,000 in my savings account and I'm starting at zero. Do I need 20,000 in the first year? Or do I just need to be making a little bit of progress? Maybe I need $5,000. Maybe I need $10,000 because I know that things are going to compound. I'm going to gain more skill sets. So get clear on some of these things. If I want to compete in a bodybuilding show for 5 years, where do I need to be in 12 months from now? If I want to be have a wife and a kid in 5 years, but I'm a single man right now and I haven't even been on a date in a woman in a year, well, I need to start dating women. And maybe by the end of the first year, I need to have gone on a dozen dates with 4 different women to figure out, okay, what is it that I'm actually looking for? So go 5 years, get real clear, bring it back home to 12 months from now. The third part, because our program is 3 months long, is I want to get real clear on what life looks like 3 months from now. Okay, what is maybe 1 or 2 clear objective goals that we can work on in the next 3 months while we're overcoming pornography? While we're trying to break this addiction, our focus should not be on not looking at pornography. Because if you spend your entire day thinking about how do I not look at pornography, you know what you're going to do? Yeah. Late at night, you're going to look at pornography because it's been wired into your brain that that's the reoccurring thought. So think about what things you need to be building in your life, what things you need to be doing to keep pornography from even entering into it. And I say get real clear on a 3-month target. Maybe it's a physical transformation. Maybe it's approaching a woman a week. Maybe it's going on a date a week. Whatever it is, right? I think we're all individualized, and that's why I'm kind of trying to give a lot of different examples here. But we go 5 years, 1 year, 3 months, boom, all kind of casting a vision forward for the life that we can live. This taps into our motivation of wanting to accomplish something. So the human animal is driven by 2 motivational forces: the pursuit of pleasure or the pursuit of a reward. So that could be the life that we want to live. There's a reward at the end of that. At 5 years from now, when you go back and look at your notes, you're like, God damn, Frank, you said you wanted to live on 5464 Angel. I just gave my address away. Anyways, but it's highly rewarding when you begin to accomplish things you set out to do. So that's one driving force of motivation for the human animal. The second one is fear-based. Okay. So the fourth part of this is you facing and confronting the possibility of failure. So just like you thought about what your life looks like 5 years free of porn, think about how it compounds if you never break free. If you watch this video and don't do anything with it, or you know what, you watch this video, complete this assignment, have some success over 90 days, but then you step away and you stop doing the things that are producing success in your life. How do things spiral back out of control for you? So it's getting really, really clear on, if I don't change, what does my future look like? So when it's late at night, when you're tempted, when you're thinking about returning back to pornography, when your willpower is low, sitting at the front of your awareness is, shit, Frank, if you don't get this thing out of your life in 5 years from now, you're gonna be exactly in the same place you are. Maybe you've actually gone backwards. Maybe you've had to sell your home. Maybe you've had to turn in your car. Maybe the business shut down. Maybe you moved back in with your parents. Maybe you never found a woman and now you're 47 years old and you're never gonna find a woman that's gonna want to start a family with you. So get clear on that, because the more clear you are on the negative consequences of it, the more drive you're going to internally have to actually produce the change that you want. So we go 3 points forward, 1 step back. So we're tapping into both of those motivational drivers within the human psyche. So yeah, that's the assignment, guys. I said we've had tremendous success. It's pulled literally out of our week 2 curriculum, and that's a gift to you guys here today.
Love it. It's powerful. So do you have your guys post their vision for the other men to see? Nope. Okay. It's for them. All right. Good enough.
You can. I mean, you can. Yeah, I've never had that done though. I mean, some of them have shared it with me, and it's amazing. I love reading it. What I love more importantly is when I get to read that, and then in 3 months they've done exactly what they said they were going to do. But no, I think this is a very personal thing, right? It can be, based upon the community that you're. It could be really helpful, man. But I don't think it's necessary.
Okay, great. I'll leave it up to the guys. If you want to, you can post it in school. If not, you can just have it for yourself. I like the 3 months personally because that they'll be finishing up this program right around that time. So hopefully they're have a vision for where they want to be by the time they finish this. But I also think this is going to be beneficial in helping them with some work that they've already done, like their vision statement from the first week, because they weren't thinking about it through a lens of being free from porn addiction. So there's other things that are going to come up. So what I would recommend is just incorporate this into the vision statement that you already have, especially because you're going to be writing this, like Frank said, after a 48-hour fast. So you might have a lot more clarity. You might be hearing from God a lot clearer at that time. And there's going to be other things come up that you can work into your vision statement, and maybe even into like your monthly goals, and to your 30 Sunday 10 p.m. sheets. You should be there should be some things that you can incorporate in there. I'm imagining. So that's awesome, man. I love it. I think it's a great tool, and can't say I'm excited to do a 48-hour fast, but I know it's beneficial, so I'm going to do it too.
You'll be happy. Maybe not excited to do it, but happy when you're done. That's for sure.
Right. It's like working out. I'm never sorry that I went.
All right. Look forward to a workout.
Yeah.
But I think there's probably something wrong with me.
No, people assume I like to work out. I'm like, because I do it, and I'm like, no, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I just hate it more when I don't go. So, all right, well, cool, man. I appreciate you, Frank. Is there anything you want to say before we jump off?
No, guys. Grateful to be here. Honored to serve. Looking forward to maybe hearing from some of you guys. If you guys have questions about these things, feel free to reach out. Feel free to share things with me. But we touched on it on the public podcast side of things, right? All of this has to start with a belief, guys. So this assignment means nothing if you don't truly believe that the outcome of what you write in your 5-year vision can become a reality for you. So before you even embark on this, get clear on your belief and truly embrace that you can overcome this. You're not powerless to anything in your life. And I think that's where a lot of guys that are struggling or living are thinking that they're powerless and they're never going to truly be free. Don't even embark on assignment if that's where you're thinking right now. Change that first. But yeah, guys, super excited for you, for what you're embarking on, and really honored to be a part of what Rob's building here.
Yeah, guys, be sure to check out Frank. If you need to go deeper in this area, obviously this isn't everything that he does. This is just a small piece of what he does. The Alpha Man Blueprint isn't designed for specifically pornography addiction. So if you need more help in this area, go check out Rebuilt Recovery. Frank would love to talk to you, I'm sure.